A Fox News alert, breaking news in the Benghazi investigation that you're only going to see right here on Fox News. House Republicans just releasing a very disturbing new report on the attack.
Yep. The more than two-year investigation finding Hillary Clinton knew it was not a video the whole time.
That's right. Plus, as we bring in Newt Gingrich, former Speaker of the House, he's down in our nation's capital. Mr. Speaker, what this says, yesterday the Democrats released their findings. Today the Republicans, which control the committee, are releasing theirs. I think the most damning thing is that what it reveals is that the President of the United States and then Secretary of State Hillary Clinton did nothing to save lives.
Well, look, I think that's right. And what's been fascinating to me is watching the elite media try to protect Hillary and cover up for Hillary. The fact is, and Donald Trump said this last week, and people attacked him for being wrong, there were, according to the head of the Intelligence Committee, there were over 600 requests that went to Washington about security in Libya and Benghazi. They were all ignored by the central office under Hillary Clinton. And when the event actually occurred, there is some argument. I have some friends in the community who argue that there was a team in Croatia that might, in fact, have made a difference if they had moved promptly and if the military had been allowed to exercise independent judgment. But in effect, the White House and the State Department sat on the whole thing while the fight went on, and then nothing was done. And then the most disturbing thing is we now know without any reasonable doubt that they methodically lied to the American people and lied to the world about what happened. And you just have to, as you look at the election this fall, as long as you understand that Hillary Clinton lied while Americans were dying, did so deliberately and knowingly. If you're comfortable with that in your commander-in-chief, then Hillary ought to potentially get your vote.
And two examples. There are hard-clad examples. She told Hillary Clinton and showed Chelsea Clinton in an email this was an al-Qaeda-affiliated attack, and she told the president of Egypt at the time, now in jail, Morsi, that this was a terrorist attack. But yet she told us a different story.
Right. So but look, this is a summary judgment. Hillary Clinton lies. Hillary Clinton lies all the time. She lies about emails. She lies about the Clinton Foundation. She lies about secret meetings in the State Department with donors. She lies about deals that are cut. She lies about her speeches to Goldman Sachs. And by the way, she lies about Benghazi. What's new? I mean, this is who she is. And if the American people are comfortable with a person that dishonest in the White House, she's a pretty formidable candidate.
Well, but here's the thing, Newt. Right now, she's leading in the polls. A couple of polls have come out in the last week. One, I believe the NBC poll, had her up by 5, but then there was that Washington Post NBC poll, that one right there, that shows she's ahead by 12 points. But then again, you look into the methodology and you discover that they interviewed 12% more Democrats than they interviewed Republicans.
The Washington Post poll has her tying Trump with men.
Yeah, that's right.
Now, the odds against that happening are so great that even given the total bias of the Washington Post and the degree to which they are now committing a hatchet job on Trump, I think some sense of professional dignity should have led them either to withdraw the poll or redesign it. It's an absurdity. Trump is down about 5 or 6 points after several weeks in which the elite media have done everything they can to block him and to protect Hillary. This is natural in a right-left race. Reagan had the same problems. By the end of the summer, people will start sifting through it. If Trump is still standing on the Friday before the election, she will lose by a huge margin. That's what happened to Jimmy Carter, who had the largest electoral vote defeat in the history of any incumbent. It depends what you mean by still standing. What do you mean by still standing? She has to pulverize him, and the media has to pulverize him so he's totally, utterly unacceptable. And if he's within 5 points Friday before the election, he'll just beat her. I mean, look what happened with Brexit. What happens is the elites, the establishment, all pile on. The average citizen will not tell pollsters the truth. You get much better results for Trump, for example, in a computerized online poll than a telephone poll, because people don't want to tell the pollster something they think is not socially acceptable.
Right. Even though they don't know each other, they still don't want to be they don't want to be honest. How important are the independents here? Because if you look at that ABC poll that you're talking about, the Washington Post ABC poll, they polled so many more Democrats than they did Republicans. We know which way they're both going to go. But the independents, is that where we need to really be looking?
Well, I look at the whole thing. I think once Trump, and Paul Manafort's doing a very good job of building out the Trump team. And I think once Trump gets to his full scale and is running his full-blown campaign, I think he's going to go after everybody. I mean, this is a guy who I think he'll be in Southside Chicago campaigning. I think he's going to be all in the Latino community campaigning. And he has a very simple message, which is the message coming out of Europe. If you like the way things are right now, she is the head of the establishment. If you think we better change, Donald Trump is your only vote. I think that could be a very compelling message.
But it's true. But you're the political expert. But if he just says, if you like the way things are, vote for Hillary, that's not enough. I think if Donald Trump should give an idea what he's going to do for, if he's going to go to Southside Chicago, what's going to be different? If he's going to go to a Hispanic community, what's going to be different?
But
does he have an answer to that?
But okay, well, let's start with look at what he's doing today. He's going to a steel company to give a very serious speech that's very substantial about the issue of trade. And let me just give you one example of why this is so hard for Hillary. The Director of National Intelligence staff reported a month ago the Chinese last year stole $360 billion in intellectual property to the United States. That is twice the value of all U.S. sales to China last year. Now, Trump is saying this is really stupid. She's the Secretary of State for a system which is really stupid. If you like giving the Chinese secrets and doing nothing about it, vote for Hillary. I suspect he'll presently have a program for the inner city that's as bold and as dramatic as the program he has on trade.
All right. Newt, let's shift gears just a bit. You are teaming up. This is a truly bipartisan effort. You're teaming up with Advocates for Opioid Recovery, AOR, an organization dedicated to advancing a science-based, evidence-based treatment system that has the potential to prevent the nearly 50,000 deaths from addiction every year.
It's unbelievable. When Patrick Kennedy first approached me about this, and Patrick has done remarkable work in the area of brain science. He's really dedicated his life because he is himself a recovering addict, and he understands this dangerous world. And he approached me and he said, you know, do you realize more people now die from opioid addiction than die from automobiles? And yet we don't treat it as though it's an epidemic. We don't treat it. And what's really tragic is you can actually have medicated solutions that dramatically improve the likelihood of permanently coming off the opiates and leading a full life and being able to be with your family and have a job. Now, when he laid out where we are and the intellectual revolution we need in treatment, and the fact that we need to recognize, for example, in our prisons, we have an opportunity to help prisoners really become no longer addicts. So by the time they get out, they actually can have a job and re-enter the community. We have an opportunity here's the danger. If all you do is detox for about 15% of the country, that's fine, and you can stay that way. But for about 85% of the country, there's a danger of relapse. If you relapse, that's the moment that people tend to overdose because they take what they used to use, and their body is no longer used to it. And so what used to be tolerable becomes deadly. These are the kind of things that got me, frankly, deeply involved with Patrick in what I think is a truly bipartisan cause for every American family. And
a lot of people saying, well, it doesn't apply to me. Well, it might, because a lot of this is prescribed. Real quick, where do we go to find out more?
I think you can go to the opioid site and see it. You can also come through Gingrich Productions, and we'll have a link directly to that site.
Very good. All right, Newt, thank you very much.
Thank you.